next thing I need to decide on is how much on this side I need to do. I know I have this panel. I have the outside wheel arch. There's a hole in the inner wheel arch, a hole down there at the bottom. Lots of holes, lots of rust. I need to decide how deep down the rabbit hole I go. I know for sure I need to replace this one because it's crunchy. And then I'll keep going, maybe, but I think I'll start just by cutting this out. So after I've decided what I'm gonna cut, I need to figure out exactly how to do it. Here I'm starting with my go-to method, which is the angle grinder with a death wheel on it. But that didn't get into the corner, so I had to get my sawzall out with a metal blade. Here I am forgetting about the wires. Yeah, they just got cut. Those go to the fuel pump and to the gas tank. We'll fix those later though. So even though this piece was mostly rusted off, there was still quite a bit holding it in. It took a bit of a fight to get it out. And of course, the wiggle method. Fatigue that metal tug comes out. Now I'm using the my needle gun. I really like this tool. It really knocks the big chunks of rust off, and then you can see what's good metal, what's just rust holding hands. It also did a pretty good job at knocking the old undercoat off. There, now you can see all the rust, all the holes in there. There might be more, but it kind of shows what I'm dealing with. What I'm doing is marking the general location of the top of this panel, so I know the limit of where I can go. Just a little tick on each side so I can figure out where things go. And it's hard to see the black marker against the British Racing green, so I'm going to put a line of tape across there. If I could find the end of the tape. I can never get the tape started. I put the tape generally in the middle of the marks. So it goes back in place with the tape there. And now I'm going to draw the line and I'll be able to see it. This isn't a perfect fit because there's the old fender underneath. But I make the mark all the way back, and I'll do it all the way to the front too. And now the scary part. This took a lot of nerve. I decided not to cut where I drew the top line. I'm cutting at the bottom of the tape, which gives me about a centimeter or so overlap between the old metal and the new metal. And then once I get the old metal all out of place and the fitment perfect, I'll be able to redraw the line and cut it so the fenders line up perfectly. There you can see better me doing the cut. And now I'm cutting the inner wheel well off from the inside. And there it all comes out in all its glory. There's an old repair there where the old metal was just lapped over. Yeah, there we go. Whew. Now I can start to see all the big holes that I have to deal with. Something about these rocker panels, whenever you get a hole in there, it really starts picking up all the dust and dirt and rocks and stuff. And then that gets wet and holds the moisture inside. Look at all of that. Now I'm going to drill out. I left a little edge around the door pillar. I'm drilling out the rivets to separate that lip, so the new one will fit right in place. And there's my favorite wood chisel. That's now a metal chisel. Grinding out spot welds really is not my favorite thing to do. I know, I feel like I deform the metal I'm working on more than I should. But you kind of need to get it off, so it's this weird balance you have to do. It's necessary. It's part of the job. These cars are almost like 99% spot welded together. There's a really great video on the British Heritage website. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. Where they're still making panels, and they're actually making full body, the main body for the midgets. Well, they say midgets, but it's Heelys as well. And you can watch them. You can watch this YouTube video of them reassembling or assembling a brand new body shell, which is fascinating because you see how it all goes together and how it was meant to go together instead of how we put it together or put them back together in a garage. And yeah, shout out to those guys who are still making, guys and gals, who are still making panels for these cars, because without that, it would make these cars a whole lot harder to work on. If I couldn't buy this rear quarter panel and had to try to make it, I'd end up just patching it, a lot more. It'd be patch after patch after patch, instead of one nice, clean, lower quarter panel. Now with all that metal out of the way, I can fit the fender back in place, and it actually fits a lot better because I'm not trying to overlap that extra metal. Now I'm able to go through and cut exactly on the line that I just drew with the fender in its near perfect final resting place. Ooh, that sounded dark. So by getting the fender as close to its last position before you draw that line, your line's going to be more accurate and it'll line up better, making your welding a lot easier. And with TIG welding, you want it to be as close as possible. You don't have big gaps to fill. There, nice long stripe. After a lot of messing around, I finally have everything all clamped in place, and I'm ready to weld it up. Welding a long, straight weld like this in the middle of a panel is not easy. The metal is going to want to, when you put the weld on there, it's hot and then it shrinks. And as it shrinks, it wants to pull the pieces of metal that are flat. It wants to cup them. There's some steps you can take to avoid it cupping as much as possible. One of those things is to keep it cool. So what I'm doing is doing little welds spread out, so one weld doesn't keep the heat for the next weld. If I just did one long continuous weld, the heat from one spot would keep the other one hotter, and it all builds up and warps the metal. That's the opposite of what we want. So little tiny dots, and then more little tiny dots, and then more little tiny dots, until all of a sudden you don't have any more gaps. It's just one tiny dot overlapping the next tiny dot. And also waiting in between those welds, it helps to as you go through and weld, you get a couple things in place, and then you might have to adjust positions on things. Especially the height of the two pieces you're welding together, because you want them to be lined up as much as possible, so it's flat. I'm lucky to be using a TIG welder for this. TIG welding, the weld isn't as hard and brittle as a MIG weld would be, so there's more flexibility. After you grind it down, you can still manipulate it without it cracking. You can shrink it a bit, for example, or flatten it out. Here my two pieces of metal have gotten too tight, too close together, and I needed some space to allow them to line up. So I had to grind it through a little bit. This was actually very nice to weld after being on my back. This is a very hard weld to do, but it was nice to do it after being on my back under the car, covered in rust. Yeah, it was nice to be, sitting up, using my foot on the foot pedal. Yeah, I was in a good place doing this. And that's where you want to be, honestly. If you're doing this, you're impatient or frustrated at the end of the day, it's not good. This is something that you have to be slow and methodical, and keep it cool, keep your cool. Then you grind it all down to see what spots you've missed. On this rear fender here, seems like they left down a bit of the metal. So I have to create this wedge that goes right here. Yeah, it's rather strange. This has a flange on it. So, yeah, I have to make that. Very, very strange. Not a big deal, though. And then up here, it kind of overlaps. I have to trim it down a bit. Yeah, so here's a little pie-shaped piece. It's L-shaped. It's curved this way. It's curved that way. I've left it long. So I'll just cut it off after it's welded in place. I like doing that when I can, because it's more accurate. At least it seems that way.
gives room for adjustments and things. Now I have to weld it upside down on my back.
With the fender all welded in, it's time to weld in the little boot floor extension piece. So it like everything else, it doesn't fit exactly the first time. You have to modify everything. So that's what I'm doing now, clamping it in place. You can never have enough clamps. Either woodworking, metalworking, you know, you can never have enough clamps. And having these different shapes of clamps is really cool too. The clamps with the U shape allow you to do a spot weld in between them. Yeah, there's a flat one that just holds two pieces together really well. I'm very happy with the clamps I have. It was a good investment. I'd do that again. There you can see me putting the foot pedal between my knees. That's how I got to run everything. Something went wrong there. Had to get up again. This was the worst part of working under the car. I was constantly up and down off the ground. It was like worse than when I had kids and, you know, play on the carpet with them. You got to get up to, you know, go get the sippy cup or whatever. This was always a lot of up and down and up and down. Bringing over the grinders so they were within reach so I could grind the tungsten down when I dipped it, that saved me a lot of work. A lot of up and down. Eventually I just have tools all over the floor. It's kind of messy that way. I tend to keep my tools out until the project's over, but you know, the project's on a big project, it's not over till it's over. So I try to clean up when I go from one big step to the next big step, but in the meantime, I tend to have tools all over the place. Probably not the best way to work, but it seems to be how I do it. I also didn't get my garage as organized before I started as I wanted. I still have unfinished house project things hanging out. There's a set of lights that I need to deal with, theater lights, or music concert lights, you know, laying on the floor. I'm sure you've seen them in the videos. You know, funny stuff like that, just, you know, in the way, but not too much in the way, so they stay in place. And with it tack welded in place, I can now go back and fill in the rest of the tacks to make it completely solid. You can see there's a lot less clamps. I can just, in some cases, I can just weld it as it is. Some other times I'll put another clamp in there to pull it together a little bit more. But with that one in place, I have this whole rear fender pretty much finished.
If you liked this video, click the like button. If you want to come along on the ride, click the subscribe button. If you want Google to remind you every time there's a new video, click the alarm bell. Your support for the Austin Healey channel is very much appreciated.